Welcome everybody else who's here. It's great to have you. And we're going to give a minute more for people to join us, and then we'll get started. Hi, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started today. People will do what they did last time, which is just join when they can, especially if they're in a school. It tends to be just someone pops on for 5 minutes if they can get away from everything. So my name is Bethany Kaufman. I'm the director of Prairie Lands Library Exchange. And we have with us also Jennifer Parkhurst. Jenny is the admin assistant, and she's also like your tech resource today. So if you have a question or a problem, you can put it in the chat and Jenny will respond to you. And if you're having like a tech question, she can even try to email or talk to you on the phone if something's not working for you. This is going to be short, so hopefully everything just works right from the beginning. So first of all, I just want to tell you what Prairie Lands is in case you haven't joined us before. Prairie Lands is the state's library support organization, and we support not just public libraries, but school libraries, academic libraries, historical societies, museums, and archives, and other special kinds of libraries. We don't have a hospital library in my region here in Southwest Minnesota, but in the metro, of course, there's law libraries and hospital libraries, and those are part of the bigger organization in the state called the Minnesota Multi-County, Multi-Type Library System. So we don't serve patrons like the public, but we serve you as our patrons and try to help you get connected to each other and to resources. So today's resources are about teens. October is a great time of the year because the worst of September is over for all the people in school. All the kids have finally gotten back into the routine. And so what we do at this time of the year across the country is a lot of libraries celebrate something called TeenTober. And a few years ago, Prairie Lands decided that our teens in greater Minnesota need as much support as they can get. So TeenTober should be a place a time when kids can get connected to the community organizations around them. And we can help make that happen. And you don't have to be a public library or a school library. We want to have teens get into other community organizations too. So historical societies, for example, and museums, we want you to be able to reach out to kids. And so we offer a grant. Every year, starting in September, we offer a grant for TeenTober, and we recognize that you might not be able to do your activity in October exactly, but for the next 3 months, we want to encourage you to try to do something, and we offer $500 for you to be able to plan an event or activity. So one of the things people have said recently is, I don't know what to do, right? Like I have no good ideas. And so that's prompted us to do this big kickoff event for each of our grants, because we want people to get some creative ideas themselves. And it's really good to hear what other people did last year. So at this point, I'm going to ask Jenny to drop in the chat a picture of the grants that have happened in the past during TeenTober. Now, they're just like a little heading, but they give you an idea of something that you might want to ask us more about later, because we can describe them more or get you in touch with the right people. So even some ideas are not from the people who are going to speak today, but from past years and other libraries and organizations in the region. So today we are super lucky. We have 4 people with us who have actually applied and used money to do a grant for TeenTober. So we have Shelly Finzen. I'm looking at my other monitor so that I get everybody's names right. There's Shelly waving. We have Mackenzie Schley. I did it. That's Mackenzie. We have Shatine Lister. Yeah, Leister. No, Leister. Yeah, got it. Okay. Shatine. I've talked to all these people like via email, but not always face to face. And then we have Lexi. Hi, Lexi. Thanks for popping in. I know you had a busy day too. All right, we're going to start and we'll just go in the order that I just said. And we would like you in 3 or 4 minutes to tell each other and the people who are here today what you would like or what you did in the past with your TeenTober grant. And Jenny is dropping in the chat right now the guidelines to the chat, so you can read a little bit more about how to do this and what it how it really works. Okay. All right, Shelly, we're going to start with you.
All right. So I'm going to start by saying before I had my event, I had 0 teens come into my library ever. I had planned several teen events and never had a single person show up to any of them. So what I did was I hosted a teen weeding party, where I allowed the teens from our local school to come in and tell me which Tyler Library items they thought I needed to take out from the teens collection, what they would never read. And it ended up being quite a bit, which is fine. Um, and then I used the funds from the grant to buy pizza and drinks for those kids that were here, but I also used it to purchase titles to replace the weeded items so that they could tell me what they wanted to see in their collection. I had some participants to this, and those kids have come back. And since doing this program, we have had my it's my checkouts for my teen or my young adult collection has tripled um, since we did the program. And I've actually had teens show up and to all of my programs that I've had for my teens since then. So this was kind of my door opening event. And yeah. So I have to go back and look at what you wanted me to look at. What are some of the things that I would do differently? So I accidentally scheduled it for the same day as the community's trunk and treat. And so my teens that were participated in my event also happened to be members of the school honor society. And so their teachers and parents had committed them to do stuff at the trunk or treat. And so they got to come to my event for about half the time instead of all of the time. So it was kind of we had to work around it, but it all worked out. So I would not schedule it on a day when I had other things. And I'm looking forward to finding some ideas for my next program because we're going to have a MLA Day event of some sort during October.
Great. Thanks, Shelley. All right, Mackenzie, you want to go next and tell us what you did last year?
Okay, I'm going to try and share my screen
Oh,
here, if I
here.
can.
Yep, I'll make you a co-host. Hang on here.
Okay.
Jenny can.
So
Okay,
I'm from the
there you go.
Jackson County Libraries, just so you guys know. So we plan generally for all three. We do one central plan. You guys can see my screen now. Last year we did a floral design workshop. So we brought in a local florist and she brought all of the supplies. They got little mason jar vases, all of the flowers, and they learned the basics for how to put together a flower arrangement. And we did the workshop at each of our libraries, so in Jackson, Heron Lake, and Lakefield. And it was about 45 minutes is what we planned for with her. And between the three libraries, we had 42 teens show up to it. So it was pretty well attended, especially our Jackson one. Let's see if I can go to the next page here. Maybe. Next. Here are some pictures.
Oh,
As can see, we
great.
had a whole variety of kids in there getting to do it, and they made really quite nice arrangements that they got to take home and show off. Let's see. So, something that we look at is trying to keep these local to highlight some sort of local business or artist, something like that, and to give the kids some sort of new experience. A lot of them haven't worked with flowers to make a flower arrangement like this before. And the positives, really good things. We had different teams come in, not just our usual ones, and we had more attendees than normal. And also some feedback I got from some of the parents is their kids were telling them how to make arrangements that they had for the holidays. So they definitely were actually listening and they took things and they brought them home and all of that. As far as things to do different, we weren't prepared for all of the flower cutting and the mess. So just to prep something, whether we had, like some plastic on the floor or just making the program longer and having the kids help clean up, that kind of stuff. As for the cost, it was $25 per attendee. So that's more than we could do for a regular program, which is the great part of this grant. We could go above and beyond. And we don't do programming in September. So October and this TeenTober is kind of our kickoff. So it's really nice that we get to do something bigger and really special to bring them in as we start the school year programming. Mhm. So if anybody has any questions, I'll answer those. And I just threw on some things that we've done in previous years. So again, like we grabbed a local baker, local artist to teach different kind of workshops, buying Nerf gear so they could have a Nerf battle throughout the library. That one, be prepared to find Nerf bullets the entire time, like the rest of your existence. So there's everything.
Perfect. Thanks, Mackenzie. Hey, I should mention that we're going to put everybody's contact information in the chat at the end so you can reach out to each other via email, or if you want to talk on the phone or something, you can ask people if they're interested. So, Shatine, would you like to go next?
Yes.
Great.
Okay, so I'm an Adrian. This year I'm K through 12, but last year when I did TeenTober, I was K through 5, and which isn't quite teen. So I had inquired, like, do tweens still like fit in
Yeah.
this? And you're like, yes, they do, which was great. Because my fifth grade class last year, great kids, they hated reading. It was pulling teeth. It was a struggle. And I was like, you know what? We're gonna make a book club. And so we started this book club, and when they found out they had to get their own book, I had maybe 5 kids. And then here comes the TeenTober grant. So I applied to use that to basically get books for the kids. And then attendance jumped up to 16 every month that I had a free book available to them, which sounds low, but like for that class, that was like fireworks moment. It was incredible to have that many kids show up, get a free book, and then read it. Like they actually read it, which was super great too. So I used the funds to buy multiple copies of books. I did Shiloh for one. I did The Wild Robot. I also got them a little keychain that said the Adrian Elementary Book Club. And I totally stole this idea from the Book Wrangler. If anybody follows him on Instagram, this is all his credit. And then they got like the little bead on their keychain if they participated in that monthly book club. We did it October all the way to May, had great participation. And like, I had so many questions, poor Jenny, so many emails from me, but she was so kind. She's so helpful with the whole process. So highly encourage everybody to do it. I'm trying to remember here. If I had to make any changes, I would have applied for the full grant. I didn't apply for the full grant because I had no idea what I was doing. So I would say apply for the whole thing, see what they say.
Yeah. Yep. Perfect. In fact, we just want to tell you, always, think about the max, right? You don't have to spend it all, and you just will submit your receipts to us, then that you paid for stuff, and then we'll just reimburse you or your library, not you personally. And because you never know what cool idea you might get midway through a project or a programming event, or a kid will suggest something and it's like, oh yeah. So that way you have a little bit of cushion room in the grants, and it's not a lot of money anyway, so it goes pretty fast. All right. So Shatine, did I interrupt you?
I don't think so. I think I talked so fast. I hope I was actually clear in what I did. I think I'm good, but yeah, it was great. Thank you.
All right. Lexi, you're up next.
Okay. Hello.
Right.
So,
hi.
I work at Hills Beaver Creek in the libraries, and I do K to 12, but we have two separate buildings. So my 6 through 12 building, the library is not as well visited. So I try really hard. I think this is the third or fourth year I've gotten the grant, was last year. And I try to kind of bribe them to come in October to show them that, like, even though it's not required, I'm still there. And last year was by far my biggest success story. And I did breakfast and books. And so I would show up once a week. I did it every week of October, and I had breakfast stuff. Like I got local cinnamon rolls one week. I went to Costco and bought, like, I gave myself $100 for each of the 4 weeks, and then 100 that I spent on like beverages, napkins, plates. And I budgeted it and it worked out well, which is not a librarian's, best thing, but it worked out. And the first week, the only requirement was that they showed up with a book. maybe one that they'd already read, maybe one that they were reading. They just needed to bring a book, come at 7:30, and I had them sign up just on a sheet of paper. And I think the first week, maybe it was just like, I don't think I had more than 10, and most of them were like my people who come to the library anyway. And we had all of our treats. And then after that, two things happened. One, they brought friends. And two, word started to spread that there were, juices and coffees and donuts and things in the library on Wednesday morning. And by the end, I think our last week I had almost 40 people.
Oh,
And a few things that I was doing to help try to like
wow.
bring it back to the books is I had little table tents that I made on Canva and printed out that were kind of like questions you could ask one another. After week 2, I planted some adults. I invited them. I was like, no, please come. And I was like, spread out and help draw the questions, get them to talk about things. I purposely had the tables big so that you weren't just in your little cliques with people that you knew, so that like my little struggling readers could be next to these high schoolers and they could hear about like thrillers and dramas and romance and be like blown away by like the topics they were discussing. And that was really engaging. And then I tried each week to have kind of an activity that was very simple, just like grab a book off the library shelf that you would recommend. And then I'd put a sign up and be like, recommended by our book breakfast and book club. Another one was like, if you did a bookmark while we were sitting here and turned it in, I raffled off some notebooks and just tried to continue to incentivize it and make it seem fun. And they wanted it all year. They begged. So my changes, one is trying to figure out how to make the budget go a little further to see if I can, instead of 4 weeks in a row, kind of sprinkle them out. I
Yeah.
loved this book club with buying the books. Maybe that's a way to level up, even though I did enjoy the sharing that happened.
Hmm.
Because I thought, people were checking out different books than they'd ever thought of just because they watched, Bryn Bakken, the girl who sets the records, show up and she's like, I'm reading The Maze Runner and I'm on
Right.
book 3 and love it. And they're like, what? I want to read that. So
Yeah.
it's an incredible grant. I can't wait to figure out what I'm going to do this year. I've been brainstorming and don't know for sure, but I might just do this again because it was very successful. They love food.
Food always works with teenagers and tweens, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
suppose it works with adults too.
Yeah, there were
Yeah.
several that, that was prompted because a few asked, and then I was like, that would help facilitate more book conversation because I'd kind of walk around and do it, but if you stick one adult at a table, it kind of focuses the conversation. So thank you.
Thank you guys. Okay, everyone, we have done it all. It's like 3:48. So I will just quickly go through and say that let me make sure I've got everything here. The grant amount is for $500. It's for any organization that's a member of Prairie Lands Library Exchange. And so that would be, like I said, historical societies, museums, public libraries, school libraries, and academic libraries. And if you don't know if you're a member, no problem. Just email me and Jenny. We'll take care of it and give you our simple little form that says, yes, I promise to be nice. That's all that the form says. And I won't take any other library stuff and not give it back. So there's no cost to be a member. All right. Get paid, you're going to be turning in proof that you've paid for the stuff, and then we reimburse you. And so we'll help you through that. Send us a million emails. We never are annoyed because, especially if you work in a school, figuring out proof of payment is like, worked in schools for 35 years. I know how the finance department works, and they don't give up their information very easily. So we'll help you work through all of that. So Jenny, would you put the proof of payment document in the chat? Or did you already? Okay, perfect. We're going to put in the chat next the contact information for who was here today. So if you're like, I want to ask them, just explain again how they did that, or I just need somebody to like brainstorm with, you can reach out. This is a group of people who are willing to talk to you and share and are excited to help you get involved with the TeenTober activities by providing, some suggestions, and then we can provide the money. Finally, this is only grant number 2 other than our academic grants. This is grant number 2 of our whole year of grants. So we're on a school year. That's our fiscal year. And so, Jenny, I'm going to have you drop the full grant schedule in the chat so you can see what's coming up and start getting ready. And we'll do another really quick kickoff for the next grant that'll be happening and opening in October, I believe. And so we hope to see you then. And will you please spread the word, everybody? Because this is a really easy way to spend 15 minutes and kind of get your creative juices flowing. So anything, Jenny, that you want to add before we say goodbye, since you're the grant guru? She's a person who's doing all that paperwork that is literally it looks like a ream every 2 weeks for the accountant. So she's an expert at it. And sometimes if we make a mistake, it's because we do literally hundreds of pieces of paper every couple of weeks. Yeah. Anything else you want to add, Jenny?
If you've got any kind of questions of, is this the right documentation? Does this qualify? Let me know. I love to see your ideas. And if they're not quite the right fit, we can talk a way to make them work 90% of the time. Likewise, please do take a read through the invoices, receipts, proof of payment document. We've made that new this year, so there's a few new examples in there that might be helpful for you. And yeah, don't be afraid to reach out. I love seeing your emails. I'm human. I'm here. I exist. I love seeing what's going on in the area, and I look forward to seeing all your applications soon.
And that's it. Jenny and I are Prairie Lads. And our governing board. That's it. So, when you send that stuff in, guess who gets to read it? Me and Jenny. That's when we told somebody that just about I don't remember, it was last spring, I guess. They were like, what? You guys are the people? We're like, there's nobody else. It's just us. We're reading your evaluations, excited about your applications. We literally talk about it. We're like, oh my goodness, wasn't that a great idea? Oh, and that's what prompted us hoping you would share. So thanks to everybody for coming today. We've recorded this. We'll pop it onto our WeVideo site in the next month or so, just to get people thinking. And like we said, if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to us. And Jenny's put contact information in the chat, or you can go to our webpage, which is just www.prairielands.org. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of the week. Bye-bye.